Money, 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 money. Money! Do you dream of being rich? I'm not talking big fancy home in the hills rich. I mean own your own plane rich. Like so rich you hire people to go shopping for you. Well, keep working hard and dreaming big because one day you may be that rich. But for now, you, me, and everyone we know is not rich. Today, we're going to see where the richest of the richest people in America live. Today, we're going to look at America's richest cities. It's pretty easy to see where the richest people live. You just have to measure how much money people make and who has the best jobs in every city. Or you could just see where the big green glow is coming from and head that direction too. The cities we're about to mention are pretty wealthy overall. Is everyone in these places loaded? No, but are most of their bank accounts pretty fat? Guaranteed. So sit back and watch this video on your old phones and your outdated laptops as we check out America's richest cities. Our first stop along our money tour through America starts in Naperville, Illinois. Families in Naperville average more than $110,000 every year. That's more than double from what most families earn in a year and way more than you and I make. Less than 5% of the people in Naperville live in poverty too. To be honest, I'm surprised anyone in Naperville lives in poverty. The city just outside of Chicago is really clean, safe, and a quiet place to live. Naperville was voted the second best place to live in the United States by Money magazine, and it was rated first on the list of best cities for early retirement. In 2015, it was named as one of the most educated large cities in America. Lots of really wealthy banker types live in Naperville and drive into Chicago every day for work, likely in cars you and I have never driven before. If you live in Naperville, there's a pretty good chance you've taken a bath in champagne at least once in your life. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. The Home Snacks Money Train takes its next stop in another Midwest city, Olathe, Kansas. If you've been at home counting your money, you might be like, what? Kansas? Yes, Kansas. Average annual incomes in Olathe are $80,000 a year, which might have you scratching your heads. How is that rich? One reason is the cost of living in Kansas. $80,000 in a Kansas home is like $150,000 in a California home. And many people in Kansas would much rather live in Kansas than in California. Less than 4 people in 100 are without a job in Olathe. That's super low. Olathe's commercial and industrial parks are home to many companies like Honeywell, Husqvarna, Aldi, Garmin, and Farmers Insurance. Johnson County, Kansas is a really rich place to live overall. There's neighborhoods here where people make well over $200,000 a year annually. Johnson County is commonly referred to as the OC of the Midwest. Overall, Kansas is actually one of the best states you can live in. It's safe, friendly, and there's great schools. Is it boring? Perhaps, but you can spend all day long counting your money if you get bored. Got my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Welcome to Bellevue, Washington, our 8th most richest city in America. Bellevue is where you go to sell Girl Scout cookies or candy bars, or where the poor kids from Seattle go trick-or-treating on Halloween. Part of the reason Bellevue is so rich is that it's right outside of Seattle, which has become one of the biggest tech hubs in the nation. If you're an engineer or a product manager for a major tech company, you probably rack up the dough. And that means you're a nerd too, so you probably don't go out and actually spend your money. Instead, you're likely at Best Buy at 9:45 every morning, waiting outside so you can snag another processor. Bill Gates lives here. In fact, people in other parts of Washington generally stereotype Bellevue people as being wealthy and stuck up. Well, that's probably because they are wealthy and stuck up, and because the students have better cars than their teachers. In 2008, Bellevue was named number 1 in Money's list of the best places to live and launch a business, and later was again ranked as the 4th best place to live in America. In 2014, Bellevue was ranked as the 2nd best place to live by USA Today. A ton of companies are located near or around Bellevue, including Expedia, T-Mobile, and Valve. The name Bellevue is derived from the French words for beautiful view. Yeah, most people in Bellevue have a beautiful view of their bank vaults opening up every morning. We head back to Kansas again for our 7th richest city in America, Overland Park. Kansas again? How in the world is Kansas so freaking rich? Farming can be a very lucrative industry, but wow. Once again in Kansas, you have great jobs, low unemployment, and a really low cost of living. This Kansas City, Missouri suburb has many jobs in healthcare, finance, and insurance, and in tech. Did you know Applebee's was headquartered here for a long time? But then people in Overland Park were like, we're rich, why are we gonna go to Applebee's? We'd probably go rather eat at a much fancier place like Cracker Barrel. Did you know Daphne Blunt's from Overland Park? She's not rich, but other famous actors who are rich and famous are from here. Here's your typical Overland Park resident. Well-dressed, nice hair, great home. He has an awesome dog that probably doesn't bite anyone or pee in the house. And his wife is probably smoking hot too. Or is that his daughter? It is Kansas, you know. So far, we've spent our entire trip in the Midwest or on the West Coast. And our next stop, Fremont, California, probably won't come as a surprise to anyone who lives in the Bay Area. When you think of wealthy areas in California, some people may think Beverly Hills or Sunnyvale. But in fact, it's the jam-packed East Bay city of Fremont that's the wealthiest in all the Golden State. One reason people are rich in Fremont is the fact that salaries are so inflated because the cost of living is so high. Average households in Fremont earn more than $110,000 every year. While that might sound great to a 25-year-old who didn't go to college, in the San Francisco area, it costs about $2,000 a month to live in a closet in a crappy bedroom. So being rich here is all about perspective. Here in Fremont, only 5% of residents are out of work, and that's not because of a lack of decent jobs. If you want to work, there's a ton of jobs for you here. Tech companies like Tesla and Western Digital make their home in Fremont. Fremont's been stereotyped as the place where the Indian and Chinese engineers who work in the Silicon Valley live. But when you consider that there's a lot of regular working class people who live here too, it kind of puts into perspective how much money those Indian and Chinese engineers make, doesn't it? Fremont is certainly a much better alternative than nearby Oakland, which may be charming if you don't have any desire to exceed in life, but is a bleak, poor, and quite frankly ghetto place to live. I ain't saying she's a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke jiggas. Our first trip to the South won't be our last. Welcome to the very rich and very wealthy city of McKinney, Texas. This Dallas suburb is one of the main places where the rich and fancy Dallas businessmen and women live with their families. People here on average earn about $85,000 a year, and only 3% of people who live here don't have a job. For a city of 160,000 people, that's crazy low. Not too long ago, McKinney was the third fastest growing city in America. And very recently, McKinney was rated #1 by Money Magazine as a best place to live in America. McKinney was originally a smaller town and still has that feeling. It has some historic homes and buildings with a town square and some mom and pop businesses. It has lots of trees, and it's made an effort to see that the high schools are economically and ethnically diverse. And oh yeah, it has really rich oil tycoons like this, who probably have kids who boss their butlers around and even make them play Fortnite with them all night long. Oh, why do I live this way? It must be the money! Here in Centennial, Colorado, things couldn't be more rich. Most people here make more than $100,000 a year, and only 4% of people are out of work, and only 4% of residents live in poverty. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Many of the southern Denver suburbs are the shiznit when it comes to wealth. Places like Inglewood, Foxfield, Highlands Ranch, that's where the money is at this part of the state. You drive through Centennial, you'll see hot moms jogging in the middle of a weekday, lots of pool repair and landscaping trucks. You never see the police here unless the police are called, and then they're there in minutes. Places like Centennial are out of touch with the rest of America. Wealthy neighborhoods are eerily quiet from activity where everything's in its perfect place. Liquor stores and auto repair shops are on the other side of town, and most of the crimes are crimes of passion more than anything else. And the kids here are spoiled more than anywhere else. I want to be a millionaire, so bad. Just outside of Raleigh is the booming city of Cary, North Carolina. What makes Cary unique is just about everyone who lives in Cary brought their money in from other places. The Raleigh area in general is like one of the fastest growing places in the country. Most of the transplants are coming from the Northeast, the Midwest, and the West Coast. North Carolina is quickly becoming a tech hub, and people are realizing it's much more affordable and desirable to live near Raleigh instead of California. And for some reason, people in New York and New Jersey seem to think Raleigh is the bee's knees. Many wind up in Cary, a Raleigh suburb. Families in Cary command $100,000 in income every year, and most of that's from one parent. And if you don't have a job in Cary, it's your own damn fault. They can't find enough people in the greater Raleigh area to fill the number of jobs here. Cary's really safe, relatively affordable, and winters are usually sunny. This is the home of the soccer mom. You'll typically see her at Whole Foods, Starbucks, Core Power, or Lululemon. Our next stop is back in Texas again. And we won't be leaving Texas for the rest of our journey. Pearland, Texas is just plain loaded. This Houston suburb is in the top 10 for income levels, but what really makes Pearland rich is the lack of poor people. Just about everyone in Pearland is at least moderately well off. Seems like a lot of other people want to reach into Pearland's pocketbook too. It's the third fastest growing city in America and has surpassed the 100,000 mark for the first time recently. Money certainly buys comfort in Pearland. There's nicely manicured parks, great schools, drama-free shopping, and low crime. If you live in Pearland, odds are you're doing just fine, thank you very much. And where's the richest city in America? That would be a Dallas suburb called Frisco. Howdy, partner. People in Frisco are loaded. Everyone here earns an average $120,000 a year. That means even the poor people in Frisco make like $90K a year. And the 3% of the population that's supposedly living in poverty in Frisco must be the few homeless people that are around, or the servants who wait on the rich people all day. Frisco is the fastest growing city in the nation too, which means lots of other rich people from all over Texas and beyond are moving here in droves. What, rich people don't want to live in St. Louis or Memphis? That's so elitist. In any event, Frisco is a Cadillac Escalade, pink-studded cell phone case, inappropriate clothing on a 40-year-old hot soccer mom type of place. Here in Frisco, you get a new house with a teeny yard and a huge SUV. Is Frisco snobby? Maybe from an outsider standpoint, but it might be more of a shallow, suburban type of vibe. Does being rich make you out of touch with reality? Perhaps, but money does indeed buy happiness. Just ask someone without it. In many of these cities, people have it made financially. They have a new home, drive new cars, and have bright futures. But this comes at a cost, people. Long work hours means more stress and less family time. Keeping up with friends and neighbors means private school, after-school activities, and 2 huge car payments. For some, it's the only way to live. For the rest of America, we make a do with what we have. It's all about perspective and being happy and content with simply being comfortable. Hey guys, if you learned something new or you just like this video, make sure to like it. And if you really like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get all of our videos about what it's like to live in different places in America. Peace.